My daughter rolled her eyes when I walked into the courtroom, but then the judge froze and whispered, "Is that Valerian?" The whole courtroom went silent. They had no idea who I really was. They saw a middle-aged librarian in a faded floral dress. They didn't see the ghost who once made empires tremble. I buried that woman to give my daughter a normal life. Now to save her, I have to dig her up. The polished marble floors of the 6th District. Court echoed with a sound like distant glaciers calving. It was the sound of expensive shoes, of anxious whispers, of justice on the march. To Emily Reed, standing beside her public defender, it was the sound of her life collapsing. At 22, charged with aggravated cyber fraud, federal offense with a terrifyingly broad definition, she felt like a ghost. Already transparent and inconsequential, her eyes, the color of storm clouds, scanned the room and landed on the figure shuffling through the heavy double doors. She felt a hot spike of shame, sharp enough to make her breath catch. Mom, of course she'd come. Patricia Reed wore her one good dress, a faded floral print from a decade ago, slightly too tight across the shoulders. Her sensible shoes squeaked on the floor. A worn tapestry satchel was slung over her arm, bulging with what Emily knew would be Tupperware containers of peanut butter cookies and a thermos of tea. As if this were a school play, not a federal arraignment, Emily's cheeks burned. She quickly looked away, her jaw tightening. She'd told her not to come. She'd begged. A silent plea screamed in her mind, "Please just be invisible." She rolled her eyes, a gesture of pure, practiced teenage dismissal that had survived into adulthood. It was meant for the public defender, a weary-looking man named Mr. Collins, but it was triggered by her mother's entrance. "That's my mom," she muttered, the words tasting of ash. "Ignore her." Mr. Collins gave a sympathetic, distracted hum, already burying his nose in a procedural manual. The judge, the Honorable Regina Waltham, entered with a brisk all-rise, her black robes swirling. She was known as the Gavel for her impatience and her record-breaking case clearance rates. She took her seat, adjusted her glasses, and began reviewing the docket. The proceedings droned on. The prosecuting attorney, a sleek man named D.A. Cartwright, outlined the case with theatrical gravity. He spoke of firewalls breached, of digital fingerprints, of a trail of encrypted transactions leading directly to Emily's university laptop. He painted her as a savvy, malicious actor, part of a new, dangerous generation. Emily stared at her hands, the world narrowing to the cold edge of the wooden bench. It was during a routine objection from Mr. Collins that Judge Waltham's gaze, sweeping the room in a moment of boredom, snagged on the spectators' gallery. It passed over the reporters, over the court sketch artist, and landed on the woman in the floral dress. Patricia was quietly rummaging in her bag, pulling out a small, leather-bound notebook and a fountain pen. The judge froze. The whispered word was not loud, but in the vaulted quiet of the court, it carried like a crack in ice. "Valerian?" Every head turned. Cartwright mid-sentence, Collins with his manual half closed. The bailiff by the door, Judge Waltham was no longer looking at a spectator. She was staring, her face a mask of stunned recognition. At Patricia Reed, the color had drained from her usually imperious features. The whole courtroom went silent. Not the usual respectful pause, but a profound, breathless hush. The air grew thick, charged with a mystery that had just detonated in their midst. Patricia looked up, her expression one of mild, polite inquiry. As if the judge had asked for the time, she gave a small, almost imperceptible nod. "Your Honor?" Cartwright ventured, confused. Judge Waltham ignored him. She removed her glasses, slowly, as if unsure her eyes could be trusted. "I apologize. a momentary distraction, but her voice, usually a whip crack of authority, was thin, reedy. She kept looking at Patricia. "Counselor Cartwright, you will. Please continue," briefly. Cartwright tried, but the spell was broken. The judge heard none of it. Her eyes kept darting back to the woman with the tapestry bag. When Cartwright finished, Judge Waltham cleared her throat. "Given the complexity hinted at in the initial filing, and the defendant's lack of prior records," she said. The words measured, deliberate. "I'm ordering a recess for further review of discovery. Court adjourned for 48 hours. The gavel came down with a soft, uncertain tap. Chaos, silent but palpable, erupted. Reporters whispered furiously, speculating. Who was that woman? Cartwright was sputtering, objecting to the delay. Mr. Collins looked bewildered. Emily was utterly lost. She turned to stare at her mother. Patricia met her gaze and offered a small, sad smile. It was a smile Emily had seen 1,000 times after a scraped knee. A bad grade, a broken teenage heart, but now, in this context, it was terrifying. It was a smile that knew things. As the bailiff led Emily away, she saw Cartwright approach her mother, his demeanor shifting from predatory to cautiously respectful. "Ma'am, if I could have a word about your daughter's case." Patricia held up a hand, not dismissively, but with an authority that seemed to physically stop him. "You may direct all inquiries through the proper channels. Mr. Cartwright, my daughter's legal representation will be in touch." Her voice was different. It was the same gentle tone she used to read bedtime stories, but it was layered now with the steel Emily had never heard. It was a voice that expected to be obeyed. "Who are you?" The question screamed in Emily's mind, drowning out all fear of prison. In the sterile holding cell, time stretched into taut. Silent rubber bands, Mr. Collins visited. His confusion now tinged with a strange new curiosity. "Emily, is there anything about your mother's background you haven't told me? Anything in law? Government?" "She's a librarian," Emily said flatly. "A cataloger at the Westbury Public Library. She's been there for 25 years. She likes gardening and mystery novels, and she burns every single thing she bakes." The normalcy of it was her only anchor. The judge knew her, Collins insisted, knew her by another name, Valerian. That's not a forgettable word. The name meant nothing to Emily. It sounded like a perfume or an obscure herb, not her mother. When Patricia visited, she came alone. She sat on the other side of the plexiglass, her hands folded in her lap. The floral dress looked absurd against the concrete backdrop. "Mom!" Emily said, her voice trembling with anger and fear. "What is happening?" Patricia sighed, a sound of infinite weariness. "A long time ago, Emily, I was someone else. I left that person behind to have you, to have this quiet, normal life. It seems the past has poor manners. Who were you? It doesn't matter who I was. It matters who I am now. Your mother, and I'm going to get you out of this." "How? By baking cookies for the judge?" A flicker of something amusement, a pain crossed Patricia's face. "No, sweetheart. By remembering how to be the person who made people like Judge Waltham freeze in their tracks. Over the next 2 days, the world outside, Emily's cell began to shift in. Imperceptible, but tectonic ways. Mr. Collins arrived, his bewilderment replaced by a frantic, excited energy. "The evidence. It's being re-examined. The digital forensics team from the prosecution side has voluntarily discovered anomalies in the metadata. They're talking about possible packet spoofing." A sophisticated frame job. He looked at Emily with new eyes. "Who is your mother?" The answer came not from Patricia, but from the world. On the second day, a man arrived at the jail. He was in his late 50s. dressed in an impeccably tailored suit that screamed of private off-the-books power. He was not a lawyer. He was ushered into a private visitation room with Patricia. Through the small window, Emily saw her mother's posture, not the soft, slightly rounded shoulders she knew, but a straight, commanding line. The man, for all his power, was leaning forward, listening intently. He nodded several times. When he left, he passed Emily's cell. He paused, looked at her, and gave a single, slow nod. It wasn't friendly. It was an assessment, a recognition. That evening, the charges were dropped. Insufficient and compromised evidence was the official, bland statement. Emily was released into the cold evening air. The ordeal over as abruptly as it had begun. But nothing was over. They drove home in silence in Patricia's old, reliable sedan. The familiar streets of their suburb looked alien, like a movie set. The cluttered, cozy living room, with its shelves of books and afghans knitted by Patricia, felt like a museum display of a life that never existed. "Tell me," Emily demanded, standing amidst the normality that was now a lie. And so Patricia told her, not all of it, not that night, but pieces. She spoke in her quiet librarian's voice. But the words were from another universe. Valerian had been a code name, not a surname. In the late 80s and early 90s, Patricia had not been a cataloger of books, but of secrets. She was a walker for a clandestine arm of the Treasury Department, an off-the-books analyst so gifted at seeing patterns in financial chaos that she could trace the hidden arteries of global power. She didn't carry a gun. She carried a fountain pen and a mind that could dismantle cryptographic systems and corporate labyrinths as easily as she now shelved biographies. She had been present at the fall of regimes, the silent collapse of illicit empires. She was a ghost in the machine of world order. "I was very good at it," Patricia said, staring at her hands, at the faint ink stain on her index finger that Emily had always associated with library stamps. But it consumed everything. The light, the air. "I met your father during an operation." He was a journalist, chasing a story that intersected with my shadow. He was the only real thing in that world of mirrors. "When I learned I was pregnant with you, I knew I had to choose. I chose you." I buried Valerian so deep I almost believed she was a character from one of my novels. And the judge? Regina Waltham was a fierce, ambitious junior prosecutor on a task force I advised. I testified from behind a screen, voice altered in a case that made her career. The Valerian brief, they called it. She only saw me once by accident as I was leaving. One glimpse. I suppose for some people, a glimpse is enough. Emily sat down, the weight of it pressing her into the familiar sofa. Her mother, who fretted over grocery coupons and neighborhood gossip, had been a phantom of the deep state. The woman who had taught her to tie her shoes and ride a bike had once untied the financial knots of intelligence agencies. The man who visited you? An old colleague? Arthur Brinkley, from the quiet bank. He still consults. He owed me a rather significant favor. Patricia looked at Emily, her eyes full of a love that was now terrifying in its depth. "I called it in. For you." The life that followed was not the one Emily had left. The charges were gone, but so was her anonymity. Whispers followed her on campus until she dropped out. Reporters left messages. Arthur Brinkley became a periodic presence, a family friend. He would sit with Patricia in the garden, talking in low tones. Sometimes he'd bring files, not digital, but paper. Patricia would pore over them with her fountain pen, making notes in the margins, and for those hours, the gentle librarian vanished. Replaced by a formidable, focused intellect, Emily was adrift, angry, and deeply afraid, not of prison, but of the abyss that had opened beneath her own history. She moved back home, a sullen ghost in the house of secrets. She watched her mother trying to reconcile the two women. She saw the moments of dissonance. The way Patricia's eyes would track a car that passed the house twice. The way she could disassemble and rebuild a complex computer virus. Emily brought her as a test Patricia passed without comment. The absolute, unshakable calm she exhibited in any crisis. The truce between them was fragile, built on 1,000 unanswered questions. Emily started digging, not in the world, but in her own home. In the attic, behind boxes of Christmas decorations and Emily's childhood artwork. She found a small, fireproof lockbox. It was not locked. Inside were not passports or weapons, but notebooks, dozens of them identical to the one Patricia had in court, filled with elegant, precise handwriting flowcharts of shell companies, analyses of political movements, psychological profiles of oligarchs and warlords, and stories, pages and pages about a baby girl's first steps, first words, first day of school. The two narratives were interwoven, one written in the language of global shadow wars, the other in the language of pure, tender love. The final entry was dated the day before Emily's arrest. It read, "The garden is blooming. The hydrangeas are particularly blue this year. Emily is coming for dinner tomorrow. She seems worried about work. I wish she would talk to me. The past is a locked room. I threw away the key. Sometimes I hear it breathing under the floorboards." Emily sat in the dust of the attic, weeping for the mother she thought she knew, for the terrifying, powerful woman she didn't, and for the profound, desperate love that had bridged the two. She descended the stairs, notebook in hand. Patricia was in the kitchen, kneading dough. She looked up, saw the notebook, and her hands stilled. Flour dusted the air between them. "You kept the key," Emily said, her voice hoarse. "I kept you," Patricia replied softly. The garden table, usually host to iced tea and seed catalogs, became their classroom. Patricia began with the basics, her teaching method a blend of Socratic dialogue and chilling anecdote. "Forget binary ones and zeros," she said, tapping a page from one of her old notebooks. It showed a web of lines connecting numbered Swiss accounts to Panamanian holding companies to a dry cleaning franchise in Cincinnati. Follow the fear. Follow the ego. The money is just the scorecard. Emily, her natural coding talent recontextualized, learned to see databases not as structures of information, but as narratives of human behavior. Her mother taught her to spot the ghost in the ledger, the recurring payment that was just a little too round, the consultant fee that appeared days before a key vote, the charitable donation that matched the price of a senator's daughter's wedding. "Your father," Patricia said one afternoon, her voice softening, was a truth teller too. "But he used a byline. I used a balance sheet. We met because we were chasing the same wolf, just from different sides of the fence. He saw the human suffering. I saw the financial architecture that enabled it. He made the story matter. I made the numbers talk." She paused. "They killed him for the story, Emily. A car accident in Lisbon. Too many brakes that failed. This was the new, painful layer of the past. Her father's death was not random. It was a consequence. Arthur Brinkley's visits became more frequent. He was the bridge between Patricia's past and present. He brought challenges, sanitized versions of real financial puzzles. Think of it as a cross between Sudoku and cyber warfare." "My dear," Arthur said to Emily, his eyes twinkling with paternal severity, "your mother was the best there ever was. Let's see if you inherited the eyes." One challenge involved a charity for orphaned elephants that was funneling money to a paramilitary group. Emily, using her digital forensic skills, found the digital wallet, but it was Patricia, looking at the donation timestamps and cross-referencing them with news. Events of rebel activity, who deduced the payments were not for weapons, but for silence. The charity was a blackmail operation, buying the silence of witnesses to a massacre. The money wasn't funding war. It was burying history. Emily looked from the screen to her mother, who sat with a faraway look, tracing a line on a map of Central Africa. "You see?" Patricia murmured. "The why is always more important than the how. The how is just mechanics. The why is the soul of the secret." 6 months to the day after the courtroom, the past arrived not with a whisper, but with a registered letter. It was addressed to Emily from a firm called Vanguard Legacy Holdings. It claimed, with cold, legalistic precision, that the modest trust fund left by her father meant to be her cushion for graduate school or a down payment was in fact an asset built with capital improperly diverted from a joint venture decades prior. The letter gave her 30 days to voluntarily relinquish the funds or face a lawsuit that would tie her up in international courts for years, bankrupting her in legal fees alone. Emily felt the cold dread of the courtroom return. This was different. This was targeted, personal, and smelled of old, patient vengeance. Patricia studied the letter, her face a calm mask. She didn't reach for a law book. She reached for her fountain pen and a fresh sheet of paper. Vanguard Legacy, obvious shell. But the language. This is Mason Cobalt's work. The pretentious phrasing, the reliance on Bermudan precedent. He always did have a flair for the dramatic. Who is Mason Cobalt? A spider. I helped to unravel his web of art fraud and antiquities laundering in the early 90s. He spent 8 years in a white-collar prison in Denmark. He promised, through his lawyer, that he would rearrange my universe, I suppose he thought. Forgetting was part of the deal. This was the war Patricia had predicted, a war of paperwork, proxies, and psychological torment. The dining room transformed. The floral tablecloth vanished. In its place, a large corkboard went up, soon covered in strings, photographs, and printouts. On one side, a younger, cruelly handsome man with ice blonde hair, Mason Cobalt. On the other, a constellation of shell companies, Vanguard Legacy, Cerulean Trust, Nemean Holdings. "He's not after the money, Emily," Patricia said, her voice that cool, Valerian steel. "It's a pittance to him now. He's after the victory. He wants to prove he can reach into my life and break something precious. He wants me to watch?" Emily felt a surge of protective fury that mirrored her mother's. "So what do we do?" Patricia pinned a new photo to the board, a sleek, modern art gallery in Basel. "We do what spiders fear. We follow the silk back to the center of the web. We find what he's protecting now." Their partnership deepened under pressure. Emily became the digital bloodhound, using every scrap of her cyber knowledge to infiltrate the peripheral systems of Cobalt's current empire. Gallery security logs, shipping manifests for high-value art, encrypted emails of lower-level employees. She was careful, leaving no fingerprints, acting as a ghost in his machine. Just as her mother once had been in others, Patricia was the archivist, the pattern reader. She cross-referenced Emily's data with her encyclopedic knowledge of old financial routes, art market trends, and the psychological profiles of Cobalt's known associates. She remembered his tastes, his vanity, his need to be seen as a connoisseur, not a thief. "He's not just laundering money anymore," Patricia concluded, circling a series of transactions from Cerulean Trust to a Dubai-based logistics firm. "He's curating legitimacy." That's his new empire. He buys problematic artwork pieces looted during conflicts, stolen from museums, then uses his network to create forged provenance, cleaning them through his galleries. He's not just hiding cash, he's rewriting history and selling it to the highest bidder. Their breakthrough came from a mismatch Emily found. A shipment logged by the Basel Gallery's system as marble sculptures. 500 kilograms had a corresponding customs form from the logistics firm listing ceramic antiquities. 300 kilograms. The weight was wrong. The description was wrong. He's shipping something inside something else, Emily said. Patricia's eyes lit up. A Russian doll. The outer shipment is the legitimate cover. The inner one is the true prize. Something so hot even his forged papers can't risk describing it accurately. With Arthur's discreet help, they obtained the bill of lading and the insurance certificate for the inner shipment. The listed insurer was a small exclusive firm based in Monaco. A firm, Arthur revealed with a grim smile, that was majority owned by a rival of Cobalt's, a man named Gregor Volkov, a Russian oligarch with a notorious temper and a zero-tolerance policy for betrayal. Cobalt is using Volkov's own insurance company to secretly transport something. Volkov would never allow, Patricia whispered, the pieces clicking into place. He's not just stealing art, he's stealing from his business partner. The ultimate ego, the ultimate risk. They had found the loose thread. Chapter 8. The Unseen Weapon. Patricia did not go to the police. She did not hire a lawyer. She wrote a single handwritten letter on heavy, cream-colored stationery. It contained no threats, no accusations. It simply listed, with clinical precision, the shipment number, the discrepancy in weight, the true nature of the contents, a priceless Scythian gold helmet looted from a Ukrainian museum, which Emily had painstakingly identified from fragmentary dark web chatter, and the name of the Monaco insurance company. The letter was not addressed to Mason Cobalt. It was addressed to Gregor Volkov, at a private club in London known only to people like Arthur. The truth everyone has forgotten how to see, Patricia said to Emily as she sealed the envelope. Not our truth. His truth. Cobalt's betrayal. Volkov will see it perfectly clearly. The effect was immediate and seismic. The lawsuit against Emily evaporated within 72 hours. Vanguard Legacy Holdings ceased to exist. News briefly flickered on financial wires about turmoil within, Cobalt's art conglomerate, and a sudden, uncontested sale of his Basel gallery to an undisclosed buyer. There was no violence, no dramatic confrontation, just the silent, ruthless rebalancing of scales in a shadow world where theft from one's own allies was the only unforgivable sin. In the aftermath, they sat in the garden. The hydrangeas were still blue. The corkboard was down, the dining table set for two. The silence was different now, not fraught with secrets, but humming with shared understanding. Is it always like that? Emily asked, watching a bee drone among the blossoms. A life of looking over your shoulder? It can be, Patricia said, sipping her tea. Or it can be a life of using what you know to protect what you love. The skills don't define you, Emily. The choice does. I chose you then. I choose you now. Every time, Emily finally understood. The woman in the floral dress wasn't a disguise. It was who her mother had chosen to become. The power, the intellect, the name that could freeze a courtroom that was just another set of tools. Like her gardening trowel or her favorite pen. Tools could be put down, or they could be picked up when needed to defend your garden. She thought of her father, the truth teller with the byline. She thought of her mother, the truth teller with the ledger. She was their daughter, a truth teller with code. I don't want to be Valerian, Emily said, her voice firm. "And I don't want to just be Emily Reed, the girl who got framed. I want to be a bridge between your world and mine, between the physical ledgers and the digital ones, to help people who don't have an Arthur Brinkley or a Valerian brief in their corner." Patricia's smile was radiant, full of a pride that had no fear in it. "Then that is who you will be." They didn't become private investigators. They didn't open a security firm. With Arthur's bemused and foundational backing, they created the Aperture, a tiny, unassuming nonprofit attached to the Westbury Public Library. Officially, it was a digital literacy and historical archives project. Unofficially, it was a sanctuary, a place where a small-town mayor being blackmailed by a corrupt developer could find discreet help, where a nonprofit, seeing their donations mysteriously vanish, could have their books quietly audited, where the little fish caught in webs spun by big predatory spiders could find allies. Emily ran the digital side, firewalling their work, creating secure channels, and navigating the new frontiers of cryptocurrency and cyber theft. Patricia was the archivist, the consultant, the woman who could look at a 50-year-old paper trail and see the lies smiling back. They used the library's resources as cover, their work hidden in plain sight, a testament to Patricia's belief that the best secrets are those that don't look like secrets at all. One afternoon, a woman came in, her eyes hollow with fear. Her brother, a whistleblower in a pharmaceutical company, had been found dead. The police called it suicide. She called it murder. And she had a USB drive she didn't dare take to the authorities. Emily took the drive, her fingers flying across the keyboard, isolating encrypted files. Patricia sat with the woman, her calm, listening presence a balm. Together, mother and daughter, unraveled the date and not just the damning clinical trial results, but the hidden payments to officials meant to bury them. They didn't go to the news. They compiled a dossier, a modern Valerian brief, and using channels Arthur helped facilitate, they placed it directly into the hands of a fiercely honest and powerful senator. Regina Waltham, recently appointed to fill a vacant seat. The senator, remembering the name, knew exactly what to do with it. The scandal broke. Justice, slow and imperfect, began to turn. After the news report, Emily and Patricia sat in their small office above the library stacks. The setting sun streamed through the dusty window, illuminating the rows of books and the sleek servers humming quietly in the corner. "We're not ghosts," Emily said, looking at her mother. "We're librarians. We just catalog a different kind of truths." Patricia reached over, her ink-stained hand covering her daughter's. "We're gardeners, sweetheart. We pull up the weeds so the good things can grow." The story of Valerian was closed, a finished volume shelved in the past. The story of the Reeds, the librarians of lost causes, the gardeners of justice, was just beginning, its next page blank, waiting for the pen to touch it. Together, they would write it, one truth, one ledger, one silent victory at a time. In the silence of their scales, balance was slowly, carefully being restored.